Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And this is your boy JTG, a.k.a. Jay the God.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Oh, all right, just making sure. We literally have gone from years to months. Now we are just weeks away from the 20th anniversary of Boston Wrestling MWF as we present to you back to the 80s WrestleFest, Saturday night, November the 13th. 2 blocks down the road from this fine studio at Memorial Hall, Melrose, Massachusetts. The zip code of champion 02176. For the next 4 weeks, JTG is going to be with me here on Wednesday night, hyping up the big show and a whole lot more. A brand new Wrestling Insider Special Edition is
coming up right about now.
Tickets are on sale now for our 20th anniversary Back to the 80s and 90s WrestleFest Birthday Bash, Saturday, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans, welcome to another Wrestling Insider Special Edition. We always have fun on Wednesday night. We're always rotating. Jay is someone I know he's in the hunt to take the Tony Atlas time slot on Tuesday on a weekly basis.
I'm working on it.
You know, there's been a lot of legal work going on between Jay's team of representatives out in Hollywood, as well as Dr. David Reese, an Oscar of Men on a Mission, the VP of the organization. Now, is there anything
VP?
from Oscar that you ever picked up on?
Oscar.
Throw your hands in the air, wave them
Oh,
like you
yeah.
just don't care.
No.
You weren't a Men on a Mission guy when you were a kid.
I was, but
You really didn't rap.
yeah, I wasn't into at that age. No, not yet.
Did you throw your hands in the air?
I
at
did
least?
occasionally throw my
right.
hands in the air. Occasionally.
Now, I know Mabel, you went on to wrestle, but Mo was kind of the forgotten of the
Yeah, what
trio.
happened to Mo? Yeah,
He's still alive, but
is he
so
still
he's
wrestling?
doing better than Viscera. He does indies from time to time. He's not what you'd call an elite physical condition.
Okay. What
He
about
wouldn't be confused with Ricochet at this point.
Oh wow. Okay. What about Mo? How come they don't do signings?
That's what we're talking about, Mo.
Mo and what's the other?
Oscar.
Oscar.
the
How come they don't do
VP.
signings together?
Heat.
Oh, they don't. Okay.
There was a lot went down when Viscera passed.
Okay, gotcha.
The wife was trying to squeeze Vince for money, and there was a lot of craziness that went on.
What? Oh, she was trying to say because of years of wrestling.
Well, you know, they were involved first in that crazy concussion lawsuit, then, you know, because he wrestled in WWE. And I've never understood this, because someone wrestled for WWE for a couple of years, they almost feel entitled to income and revenue and a job for the rest of their lives.
No.
That's not how life works necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean,
you wrestled for a lot of other organizations. You're an independent contractor.
I mean, you worked at AMC. Did you feel like you were entitled to movies? Or
For the rest of my life,
The rest of your
I
life?
actually do feel like I'm entitled to a free movie pass. AMC, if you're watching, I busted my ass swooping up that popcorn every Friday night and Saturday on the weekends. I
Now,
deserve.
see, you're a worker. You're working them because you know you were taking the bus to OVW on Friday and Saturday, so you weren't sweeping any popcorn on the weekends. That was weekday popcorn.
Kayfabe.
That was weekday popcorn. They hooked you up.
They
And
did.
I know that Times Square. I mean, I know that AMC right in Times Square.
Yes, I still want my movie pass, free
Now,
lifetime movie pass.
I'm sure you've watched the great episodes that we've already had with you and I.
Oh,
Did you
yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
some of the inserts?
I loved it. And I loved.
The AMC was put right. I don't know if that was the AMC, but it was a New York City AMC.
It was the Times Square. Yeah,
That was the one.
Yep, Times Square. Yep.
Now that takes a lot of time. People wonder why I'm here 9 to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That there's a craft to that. You know what I mean? But we want to make it good for you guys. We want you all to please, as we get closer to the big event, head on over to patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Don't be a fan, although we love having you as a fan. Don't be a friend, even though we love having you as a friend. Join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. You know all the perks that you get. I'm not going to review it now because we have fine commercials that'll do that as well. But, I mean, you're talking about hundreds of full-length interviews, dozens of different superstars.
That's a lot.
But you know what? Tony Atlas, as the phrase goes, he took the money and ran. We're looking for a new full-time Tuesday night host. Could Jay be the guy? We know he's the God.
The God. Yes.
But could JTG stand for J Tuesday Night God?
Oh.
Look at that.
I like that.
Instead
that was
of,
off the top of the dome, too, wasn't it?
right off the, and you know what? This dome has got a lot going. It's like the NASDAQ board in Times Square. It never stops. So sometimes when the thoughts come, they just come. And I do get myself into trouble on this show because, again, those thoughts, you know that filter that says think, say,
You got rid of
think,
that?
say, it broke.
Oh,
So-
well, anyway, a wise man once said, controversy creates cash. So let's keep on the controversy.
Well, you know what? It's really cool to have someone younger in my age demographic that has been around as long as you have, tenure that you have,
Thank
that
you.
enjoys the industry as much
Still a
as
fan.
we do, and kind of started to watch right around the same time I did as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I got a couple of years on you, but you know, if you were from Boston or I was from New York, we probably would have been buddies going to the
absolutely.
Boston Garden or the MSG shows.
MSG, yep.
We love the same kind of wrestling. So as we discussed on an episode way back in July, you know, if Jay does become a full-time host beyond current events and things like that, you know, maybe going back and looking at interesting WWF, WWE chronological timelines and so on and so forth might be a lot of fun because I've been immersed in it. I was lucky enough to break into this fine industry when I was only 13 because of this TV studio. There was a wrestling talk show that was produced out of here, and they had a live audience come in. And a bunch of drunk high school kids came and destroyed a lot of the equipment, so they banned the audiences.
Okay.
So they started to do live call-ins. So a friend of mine was a big fan too. We watched the show and so on. And his father said, why don't we just go down? What's the worst they're going to say? So we went down. They let us in. We started to watch. Then eventually I figured, you know what? They're in the 9th grade. Why not put them to use? Free labor. You know what I mean? So we started to learn a little bit about the video equipment. Then that summer, the late Boston bad boy Tony Rumble came down to the studio to promote a local event he had coming up. And he saw all the great equipment and he was almost like JBL.
The gear started turning, huh?
The first time JBL came down here when he invested in OVW. And he's like, why don't you come and tape the shows? So that was how I entered into it. And then Tony saw I had an aptitude and an interest far more for the wrestling than the video production. And then, you know, I'm doing the lineup sheets, I'm ringing the bell, I'm playing the music.
Okay.
And, you know, to a 9th grade kid, I mean, being in a, you know, you quote unquote know what wrestling is, but the first time you're in that locker room, you're like,
Your mind was probably blown, huh?
I met Tony Atlas, the Iron Sheik, Tommy Dreamer, who was still doing the Chippendale thing at that point, Taz when he was the Tasmaniac. I don't know if you remember Damian Demento, but he was fresh off of that little WWF.
So question for you.
run.
So you was in the 9th grade? Oh,
Yeah.
You was in 9th grade?
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that you felt wrestling was real. When you went backstage, was it still real to you, or were you kind of broke kayfabe?
Oh, no, I had thought it was, my impression was that it was a work.
Oh, okay,
But
gotcha.
I had arguments with my father going back to WrestleMania 3 because I think he just hated going. Because they had, MSG I think was every 3 weeks. In Boston, we had it one Saturday a month.
Okay.
He hated going.
But he had to take you.
I don't know if my mother threatened to take sex away from him if he didn't take me or what, but
It worked. Whatever.
I went every month. And I think he thought by telling me it wasn't on the up and up, it was going to get me to stop watching it.
No.
And as I would later learn in life, I said, there's no way they could do some of these things and not get hurt.
Yeah.
And as I'd learned, once being in the industry, the guys' bodies do get hurt by a lot of the
It's
things.
still a
that they've
work,
done.
but you know who told me?
Wrestling fans, sorry to interrupt your favorite episodes of Wrestling Insiders, but truly need your help to keep wrestling legends working and these shows produced. Get early, uninterrupted, full-screen access to Wrestling Insiders, along with our studio shoot interview DVD library, as seen by millions online, exclusives and more by joining the Boston Wrestling Patreon family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Check out the link to the Boston Wrestling eBay store in the description box below. If you're watching the premiere, the Super Chat button is open for business, or send a donation of any size using Venmo at Boston Wrestling or PayPal using bw@bostonwrestling.com. Again, sorry to interrupt, but we can't keep giving you these free talk shows without your support. Now, back to the show.
cool story. Me and my best friend went to a Stone Cold Steve Austin signing in Manhattan. I forgot what. I think it was year 1997. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin first, and then I believe it was Owen Hart and British Bulldog. They were both performing at MSG, and they did a signing. And after I got my autograph, you know, I still hung around because I just wanted to be around the superstars. And Earl Hefner was there behind the scenes, and he was just there. And then we hey Earl, Mr. Hefner. Hey, what's up, kids? How you doing? Hefner.
Hefner was the guy that owned Playboy.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you've been to the mansion.
That's another story. But I said, hey, is wrestling real? And he was like, he looked around. It's not real. And me and my best friend kind of just like, our hearts were broken. We were like, well, you know what? We're still going to watch it. Oh, well.
He shouldn't have done that.
Well, he did. He told us Santa wasn't real.
He shouldn't have done that.
But I still left cookies under the Christmas tree.
I had it ruined for me when I was about 6.
6?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Because then I started looking at it different. I'm like, well, that punch,
a little questionable.
He missed, and he still, registered it. But then you'd see things, and it'd be like, how could that not hurt?
My trainer told me that the VHS.
You have to specify which trainer.
Oh yes, Rip Rogers.
Okay.
Rip Rogers.
Keep putting the ball. That man deserves to be put
yes,
over.
Rip Rogers. Yes, he does.
Over, brother.
Rip Rogers, one of the greatest trainers in wrestling history. He said that VHS cassette tapes ruined wrestling. And I'm like, how is that? Because fans were now able to rewind and see if the hits connect. And he said that was.
Well, you could do I don't know how much of a VHS.
Oh yeah, pause.
Before DVD.
Yeah. He said the VHS. I'm like, VCR, really? You think so?
I can actually, I can see that to some degree. I don't ever remember going back and doing that.
Some say VHS. Some people say Vince McMahon.
Well, if anything, I think for the tape traders of the world, when you were able to do, say you had a hot angle in San Francisco, you could go to 20, 25 different territories and pull off the same angle.
Yeah.
With tape trading, wait a minute.
You can't do that. I've seen that before.
That just happened in Houston. How did this guy not know what was coming again? Yeah. And then, wait a minute, he just did this in Houston, in San Antonio. Now he's doing it in Florida. How is he doing it again? So I think, that ability to fans to figure out hot angles from different territories. And I guess I'm way too young. You're probably even on the tail end of it. But I remember when I was in elementary school, there must have been over a dozen different wrestling magazines.
Oh, yeah.
I would go to the magazine store, and I didn't know which one to try and grab first.
Some of the kids out there don't know what a magazine store is. Yeah, magazine store where they actually had magazines every week with new pictures and articles. Yeah.
In Japan, they came out weekly, but in the United States, they were about 12 monthly wrestling magazines, and
you'd be in there all day.
My father would be looking at some boring fish and shit, and I'd try and which one do I'd try and beg him for one. I was like, well, we'll get one.
Yeah.
So the others, I was just trying to flip through and just try and see what cool stuff.
How did you pick your magazines? I usually pick them by which photos I wanted to put on my wall. The photos had the pictures.
I'd get the subscription to WWF magazine as my birthday gift.
Okay.
One of my birthday gifts every year. I always loved the covers with the blood.
Ooh, yeah.
I love the blood.
I have one. I have a cool one with Ric Flair. My mom has it actually. It's one cool one with Ric Flair with blood all over his face.
Margie has still got all the goods.
Oh yeah, I was able to pick some goods. I posted one the other day. It was a program with Andre the Giant versus King Kong Bundy. I forgot what it's called, the tussle or something like that. It had a cool name to it. And there was who else was on there?
You're gonna be talking 85.
I was only a couple of months. I looked at my mom. I said, "Mom, did you take me to the show?" She's like, "Yeah, you wasn't stopping me from going to enjoy wrestling. Yeah, I put you in your stroller."
She brought you as a baby?
Yeah,
really?
As a baby. Yes, I was. Yeah, I was in the building with Andre the Giant, King Kong Bundy.
So was it the WWF program from MSG?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I still have. It's on my Instagram. I'll show it to you later.
But you're gonna have her scan it or something. That's some cool stuff.
Yeah. The program? No, it was the program where they had the matches list.
Yeah. You still have the lineup sheet too?
Yep, I still have the lineup sheet.
Wow. Yeah. See, to me, that's the coolest stuff. I could care less about, I shouldn't say that, but I'm not as excited about things nowadays as I am with stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a bunch of, my mom saved everything. She's a hoarder. She has magazines. She has a program. She marked down who won, who lost. It was a draw.
She ruined the sheet, though.
Yeah, she wrote.
Margie, come on.
She wrote on it. Definitely wrote on it.
Has Margie seen any of these programs?
Yeah.
And what does she think of them?
To her, it's so used to, it's normal to her. She's like, yeah.
She doesn't really care.
Yeah, she doesn't know the value of them.
No.
Yeah.
Well, all right. But we do. Because coming up right now, you want to talk about a great value. Our good friend, right there in the middle, the two of them, I tell you, that was going to be one of our hot feuds before WWE signed them. Those two gentlemen in the middle.
Ivar and Kingston?
Ivar used to be here every Sunday working on his promos for years.
Wow.
He's like, I love him like a brother. And
Good for him.
Kofi, I think so much of, and I know he's a good friend of yours. But right now, we're going to take a brief time out. Kofi is going to explain to you some of the benefits of what is it again now, sir?
Sexy as hell beard care. Beard and body.
As the fans say, I'm dying for it. Some of the fans say I look like I belong in a recycling bin. I don't know.
Oh, well, we got to hook you up. We're going to get you that love package.
I've been hearing that since 2019.
I'm working. We don't get on it.
You just want to make sure everything's included, that's all.
Oh, yeah. I want everything. You get the beard. I want to get you the beard butter, the body butter, the spray. We got to hook you up.
Is Linda going to be able to resist?
You're going to have to beat her off, man. You got to beat her off with a bat.
Well, she's
with, amongst other ladies.
Other than the 2 days a month I get paid, she's beating me with the bat, but that's a different story for a different time. Here's our friend Kofi Kingston, folks. We'll be right back.
Cheer. Why, hello. I would ask what was on your mind, but I already know. You want to know what has got my beard looking oh so majestic. And I'll tell you, it's sexy as hell beard care. Coconut oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil, both sweet and bitter, shea butter, it's all natural. Yes, JTG has actually come out with a high quality product. So support your boy by going to sahbeardcare.com and take one step closer to becoming sexy as hell. Cheer. Ooh, cheer. You know?
Wrestling fans, the countdown is on to Boston Wrestling MWF's 20th anniversary bash, Saturday night, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. Join WWE Hall of Famers Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, and Bob Backlund, Marty Jannetty, the Doctor of Style Slick, the Berzerker, Doink The Clown, Duke the Dumpster Droese, Aldo Montoya, plus JTG of Cryme Time, two-time Impact Wrestling World Champion Die-Hard Eddie Edwards, John Cena Sr., and Oscar of Men on a Mission for live wrestling, an autograph photo fan fest, VIP Q&A session with the kickoff to the Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive in a must-see event 2 decades in the making. VIP packages and tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. We'll see you live in Melrose November 13th.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marati.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store. Check it out.
Here's your chance to own a piece of history from the 2020 WWE Draft. On the second night, October the 12th, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Alexa Bliss unleashed hell on Andrade and Zelina Vega. This limited edition 11x14 collector's poster is number 26 of only 50 made, personally signed by both The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, direct from friends at WWE. Comes with certificate of authenticity hologram on the poster itself, suitable for framing. You'll also receive a bonus autographed mystery photo and an on-air shout-out as our thanks to you. Get this ultra-rare autographed Fiend and Alexa Bliss poster now.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back. We kind of BS'd in the first segment. I really don't think we talked about anything that was intended for this show. But like I said, we get into these conversations and they're like unique GPS rides. You never know.
You don't know where you're going to go.
Twists you're going to take. I didn't know we were going to be talking about MSG programs from 1985. And but you know, again, it's cool to have someone of your age that's enjoyed wrestling the way you have, I guess is the best way to put it, and has actually done it and is still interested in it.
Living the dream, brother.
The worst thing we have is when we have a great guest and they've gone through their story, and then they don't follow it, they don't care about it now, and then it's like it's almost the end of the road because there's nothing left to talk about. With you, where you still stay interested and engaged, you're still in the best physical. Show them the guns, brother. Come on, brother.
And that's thanks to T-Moss. T-Moss, if anybody know what T-Moss is, it's testosterone boosting C-Moss, and that's another brand of mine. Go check it out, t-moss.com.
I'm waiting for that in my package too.
You're gonna horror it. Oh, now you want a sexy as hell bid, and you want
I want it
you
all.
want big guns?
Whew. Brother, and I think, didn't you
They're gonna
say
be sliding in them DMs, Dan. Hope
al-
you're prepared for that.
It also helps with the little
Oh, it helps with that too.
performance enhancing in other
libido,
ways.
energy, testosterone levels. You're just gonna. It's a brand.
Since myself and this man got blown up by the drunk driver, believe me, the libido has been. There hasn't been much beating going on. But anyway, that's a different story for a different time. You know, when we started to break down your career in one of the earlier episodes we did, I don't think we ever really discussed the year. What year did you get involved in wrestling?
So on my 18th birthday was the first time I actually stepped into a wrestling ring.
So that's
That's
02?
Yeah. When did I graduate? Yeah, I graduated high school in 2000.
You don't know what year you turned 18?
No, I can't remember the year. I do remember the year I got signed. I got signed in 2006. That year I do remember.
That we did discuss.
Yes.
So it was about 02 when you broke in.
Yeah.
Now, is that the Carolina version of JTG or the OVW version of JTG?
That was the Carolina.
Okay.
I was there for a few months, and then after a few months, I moved to Memphis, then back to New York, and then that's when I saw OVW.
Did you say Memphis?
Yeah, I moved to Memphis because it was a
What the
little
hell
bit.
were you doing in Memphis?
Because I was also taking the bus from there too to OVW because it was a little bit closer. I was staying with family, and then the family thing. So
They
I
get
moved.
tired of it.
Yeah, I went back. So I moved back to New York, and then I was taking the bus from New York to. I wasn't gonna let that stop me. Yeah.
And again, fans, if you maybe missed the episodes, JTG, to show the passion that he had living in New York City, would take the bus every weekend to go to OVW to train?
Yep,
Once
for
a
2
week?
hours. Yep, once a week for 2 hours. And then I eventually moved out there and lived in a motel.
How long was the bus ride? I think you mentioned it.
16 to 18 hours.
For 2 hours
So
of
we will.
training?
I forgot the route that we would take, but we will stop somewhere, and then I'll stay there in the station for 2 hours for the next bus because I had to connect. It was worth it. That's all I gotta say. It was worth it, but it was a crazy.
Did that not earn a great amount of respect from the powers that be there, or did they just?
Well, I
think you
didn't
were
go around
nuts,
telling
or-
that story because I thought it was normal. I thought that to go to WWE, you had to do crazy stuff like that.
And you're not wrong.
Yeah.
In some ways.
So I
but
thought it was
mean,
normal
that's
to
an
me.
Extreme.
But I didn't tell that story. You know, I told people that was close to me, and then the word got around. Yeah, and they were like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "Where did you come from? How did you do it then?" Like, I thought that was like the.
You thought people just traveled from all over the world for a Saturday training session?
If you wanted to be the WWE, yeah.
Who was now in OVW? Was your first trainer Rip Rogers?
No, my first trainer was Eugene, Nick Densmore.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you did mention that.
Yeah,
That's right.
he
Okay.
trained me. He taught me the basic, how to re-taught me how to bump. Because I was training with somebody else, like I said, for 6 months.
Carolinas. You
in
don't
the
even
Carolinas.
remember his name.
Name is, remember his name. He was a Thunderfoot. His name was Gene Legan. I trained with Gene Legan. That's it. He was a Thunderfoot. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, vaguely.
Very vaguely, yeah.
I mean, you're talking
He was
old territory.
Yeah, he was also an enhancement talent for WWE. But anyway, he
For some reason, NWA registered. in
yeah,
my
he was
mind.
there. I
could
believe he
be
was there
wrong.
too.
Okay,
But yeah, he
okay.
taught me
Oh,
how
so
to.
you do remember
Yeah, he
him.
taught me
Okay.
how to lock up, how to hit the ropes, and how to bump. And then when I got to OVW, Eugene polished that up. And then Rip Rogers taught me psychology. He was the one who taught me how to cut a promo, how to tell a story, putting the fine details in your match to make it realistic and basic storytelling. And then I moved on to Al Snow, and Al Snow really polished Shad and I
Uncle
up.
Al.
Yeah, he
Uncle Al.
Uncle Al. Yeah,
Uncle
Uncle
Al,
Al. Yeah,
please.
he polished me up for TV, for WWE.
Now, how long did it take you to advance from working with Eugene to Rip Rogers?
Ooh, it was, I'll say about a year, maybe 2 years, something like that, or a year and a half.
Oh, really?
Because you had to go through the amateur class. And then from the amateur class, you move up to the intermediate class. And then I was in intermediate class for a long time. And then I eventually moved to the to the contract class. I didn't have a contract, but I paid the money to train with them and to wrestle with them on TV. Because that's where you wanted to be on
Oh,
OVW
sure,
television,
sure.
because you want to be seen with the contract talent. And they put me and Shad together, and I didn't have a contract. And then within a couple of weeks, I got the call.
Things changed.
The plan worked. Trust the plan.
Did you have almost a mock-out moment when you walked in and Eugene was your trainer?
Oh, he wasn't Eugene yet. He was the champion at OVW, And then while
you're talking 02. That's right. Yeah, he didn't become Eugene until
yeah, so he was our
okay,
trainer, and then he got called
So you
up.
probably really didn't know much of even who he was.
Yeah.
He did some, I think, some enhancement work in WCW as Nick Dinsmore.
Oh, he did? Oh, yeah.
During the Nitro.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
But forgettable, so.
Okay.
You're not the only one. But, so high quality training across the board, though.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this one. The fans often, you say, casual fans or people that want to knock our great industry, oh, that's a big trampoline.
No.
Tell us about a professional wrestling ring and maybe what you were expecting before you get in it the first time.
Wrestling fans, sorry to interrupt your favorite episodes of Wrestling Insiders, but truly need your help to keep Wrestling Legends working and these shows produced. Get early, uninterrupted, full-screen access to Wrestling Insiders, along with our studio shoot interview DVD library, is seen by millions online, exclusives and more by joining the Boston Wrestling Patreon family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Check out the link to the Boston Wrestling eBay store in the description box below. If you're watching the premiere, the Super Chat button is open for business, or send a donation of any size using Venmo at Boston Wrestling or PayPal using bw@bostonwrestling.com. Again, sorry to interrupt, but we can't keep giving you these free talk shows without your support. Now, back to the show.
I kind of thought it was a trampoline. I thought that. And then when I got into my first wrestling ring and I kind of inspected the ring, I kind of like, okay. So this is pretty much planks of wood and on top of beams. And on top of the planks of wood, yeah, steel beams. And on top of the wood, there's like a thin layer of canvas. And on top of that, there's the canvas itself. And then I looked at the rope, and they weren't, the one I was training in wasn't similar to the one that I watched in WWE. The WWE had a rope, and they had tape around it. The wrestling ring that I trained in, it was pretty much a garden hose.
It was one of those deals?
Yeah,
okay.
garden hose with tape around it, and then was what was going around the ring. It was like a thin metal. What do you call those?
Like a copper wire?
Yeah, it was a copper wire. And then when I hit the ropes, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did they hit the ropes?
That was more like a WCW ring.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then at the end of my first, I had like welts all over under my arm, but my body got used to it. Yeah. I prefer the WWE ropes.
You didn't have the strawberry lemonade spray back then.
I did not have the strawberry. I wish I did.
Imagine what you could have picked up on some of those Greyhound buses.
Ooh, you're right.
18 hours.
Yeah, could have made some friends.
That's a lot of time to make a friend, especially at night if you were going back on those buses.
Yes.
That strawberry lemonade could have gone a long way.
This would have got their attention, and then they're like, so what you doing on the bus? Oh, I'm just going to train to be a wrestler. Nothing. Yeah.
Well, did you ever meet interesting people on the buses like
yes,
that?
I actually
Would you tell people your story?
Some people, and some people, I came across a lot of charlatans, and when you're in the bus station, they see a young kid, they're like, I met some people, the Jack, hey, you want to watch, you want a gold chain, and they give you a good story, and then I actually went to the ATM, took out some money and bought a chain, which I thought was real because he had a good story, and then when I got back and took it to the jewelry store, the guy just laughed at me. He's like, this is not gold, this is costume jewelry. He got me. Good one.
They got you once.
Got me once. Can't
Never
do it again.
again.
Never again.
No, I mean, just the stories alone of your bus trips must have be pretty memorable.
Yes. I have
And exhausting.
Oh, it was worth it.
So you probably have to leave, in the mid-afternoon on Friday at the very least?
Yes, mid-afternoon, and then I'll get there early, like around early Saturday morning.
And how far was the bus station from OVW?
When I first got there, it was about a good 30, 40 minute taxi cab ride. Yeah, they didn't have Uber back then. Yeah. And then they eventually moved because the school was in Indiana. It was like right on the.
It wasn't in Louisville.
It wasn't in Louisville yet.
Oh, geez, how much did the taxi ride cost you?
Probably like $30-40.
That's it.
Yeah, that was about it.
That's not a bad deal,
Not
actually.
bad. Yeah, and then
But
I'll get a ride to somebody. I'll get a ride from one of the guys. Like, hey, you're going to Louisville, and
there was nobody nearby in Louisville that could have picked you up?
I eventually made friends with Elijah Burke. So Elijah Burke started picking me up from the bus station and dropping me off. Yep.
What a wasted talent.
Oh, well, he's doing great at NWA.
But I mean, who's seeing that? I don't want to knock the NWA, but I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it doesn't have the presence of
WWE,
AEW, even Impact or Ring of Honor.
Well, he was at Impact for a while.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good on commentary too.
Yeah, he's great on the mic. Yeah.
He has every tool, every skill you'd want. I mean, how tall of a guy is he? That might be the only.
Probably 6 foot. about
And
6
that's
foot. Yeah.
big in this day and
Yeah.
age compared to the size of some of the guys getting in. The verbal ability, I mean,
Politics.
He could be that charming, you know, he could be a charming baby face. He could be a
Devious
sleazy heel.
Yep.
He had a great physique. He had a great look. What the F went wrong with Elijah Burke? Do you know?
I have no clue.
You have no. Well, you said politics.
You're probably
a
gonna
minute
be. You're
ago.
gonna be. You have politics. You probably might be saying the same thing about me in 5 years. JTG, he's got everything. What? Why they have any side? We don't know. We'll never
You
know.
might be too nice.
Am I too nice?
I think you're too nice.
I need to be a little bit more aggressive.
You need to be a little angrier, at least
Okay.
with everybody else, not with me. Though. I have
Okay,
to deal
gotcha.
with enough BS. But did you ever see did you hear about what happened with Marty when he was with us in June?
Jannetty?
Yeah.
No.
Oh dear God.
Oh, what happened? Oh, I love your stories, Dan. Do tell.
Other than the Sheik, it's probably the most memorable thing that's ever happened here in the studio. When he, you know, two Marty's, and Marty might get mad if I retell it, but it's a story worth retelling. He's had to go through 2 major reconstructive ankle surgeries. The problem was he had 2 of them within a couple of months' time.
The same ankle?
No,
Oh, both
both of them. Yeah, he was walking. If this is the foot, this is the ankle. It was almost like he was walking on the bottom of his ankle. It reminded me of the Sheik after we got in the car wreck. So I've always felt bad knowing how much pain he's in and how much he's wanted to mask it. Well, he's 2 great days on Friday and Saturday. Then there was Sunday. And, I can't even begin to, I wish there was a security camera at the front door to show what arrived. I mean, the aroma of alcohol. We tried to do, he said he was fine and ready. We had an issue in February, but he said he was fine and ready to go. I said, let's test the waters and do a watch along because the fans like those.
Yeah.
So we tried to watch the Rockers and the Twin Towers from WrestleMania 5.
Okay.
He couldn't speak.
He was slurring.
And this is Father's Day, mind you. So the crew went home. They were
Yeah.
so pissed.
Yeah.
It took
Wasted
us
their time.
4 hours to try and sober him up. We were able to get a couple of episodes out of it. And then we were going to do, like we do the live pay-per-view watch-alongs and do the Cyber Simons.
Yeah.
Well, because no one else was here, not only was I doing this, I was going back and forth and doing what our great crack staff in the control room was doing. So it was one of the most hectic days of my life here. Plus all the social media stuff that I have to do. That's a lot for one person, especially when you move as badly as I do. Well, anyway, about 10, 15 minutes before we were set to go live, I couldn't find him. We had one of our great Patreon superfans here that was kind enough to accommodate Marty's request to take him to the store. Only when he asked to take him to the store, I don't think he realized it was the liquor store.
You spent 4 hours sobering him up, and then
Yes.
he reversed
So
that.
to wash down all of the pain pills he was on for his ankles, he went to the liquor store for some beverages. So he was all right for about 20 minutes, and then it turned into, thank you, Howard. Is that segment 1, sir?
Segment 2.
The end of segment 2. Okay, thank you. We're professionals here. We need to
Thank
ask. I've never seen anything like it. He turned heel on me. He was.
Do you have that on footage?
It's blocked, but I could probably send you a link.
I would love to see him turn heel on
It
you.
is the only time in the history of this show, even with the Sheik, that I've ever got mad. Because he said, he insulted me. He said, first he tried to say I tried to block him from coming in the door. Now, you know how I move. Could you imagine me at that front door you came in, physically standing there trying to block him from walking in?
You can't take it personal. That was the liquor talking. It wasn't him.
And then he said, no, you did that as you didn't want to pay me. You didn't want to do the interviews. You didn't want to pay me. Now, when we come to try and make it feasible, you know, from a business point of view, we have to have him in for several days because you get the airfare, the hotel, and so on.
Yeah.
When we do it over multiple days, not only is he getting a nicer payday to do it, but it makes it's a lot of work for us, but we get a lot of content taped at one time. I'm trying to get as much out of him as possible, and this imbecile is sitting here. Sorry, Marty. Inebriated Marty was trying to say that I didn't want to pay him to be here, which was the furthest thing from the truth. But I tell you this, and I take great pride in it, is we've now hit 20 years.
Yeah.
We have never shorted one person one penny. And
not a lot of people can say that in the wrestling business.
I got so pissed. I was so insulted. I have taken so many hits that I'll tell you some other stories about even one time when we were held up in this very studio by this miserable, another reason I detest women wrestling. It's quite the story.
Ooh.
I almost did.
I love it. I want to hear it all.
I almost did a kipper. I was almost like, what did you say to me?
Ooh.
I ran in that room where I sit. I don't think you saw where my desk is, but that's where I kept the gimmick, the payday. I came out and I took it him almost like I threw it at him like a ninja star. I said, here's your precious money, and threw it at him. But still, I didn't have any help with the technical stuff. So this is all still going on live while the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view is going on. So the fans that watch live got a real treat. And then we started going back and forth and I'll tell you a couple of stories off the but I went to great lengths on Father's Day to try and get him some help as we were trying to sober him up, forgetting that it was Father's Day, only looking at the emergency as a certain company's talent relations, I'm sure, loved being bothered in the middle of their Father's Day dinner by me about Marty Jannetty, again, forgetting that it was a holiday. But anyway.
You guys are cool now?
Absolutely.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, you saw that he was here back in September, so everything is well.
Okay.
You know, and I love Marty, but just that version of Marty was intolerable. Then we did the cyber thing, and he said, I don't want your money. Take your money. I said, if you think I'm going to let you walk out of here without taking this money, so you can go on Facebook and bash me. So again, I took it. He wouldn't take it, so I threw the money at him. It was a nightmare.
Oh, you did a Ted DiBiase them, huh?
It was, yeah, almost. It was a nightmare. And then about an hour after he left, you know, he's sitting there. I love you, man. I fucking hate you.
Oh.
And this is just a disaster. But you know what the best part was? Even though he was drunk and hated me and was dishing me apart, he still shot on Tony Atlas.
He still shot out Tony Atlas?
Because I don't even know if you're familiar with the Tony Atlas nonsense.
Just the foot stuff.
No, well, with me and him.
Oh, okay, no.
He, after he bought his $200 computer and vanished from the Tuesday show, I got angry and I told the fans, he abandoned ship.
Yeah.
So he went on Facebook, not him, as I don't think he can type as much as was written, to be kind. He claimed that in the 4 years he was coming here, he was making $55, which was, I mean, you can imagine how absurd of a story that is.
Yeah.
$55 to come down here for hours and
That's
hours.
gas. That's gas money.
So, but Marty started saying, I hate him, but Tony, you're still full of shit about the $55. And that, you know.
Even drunk Marty could see through that.
As angry as I was, that made my life.
I mean, that was a good.
All right, wrestling fans, right now we're going to take a brief time out. We'll be back with more laughs, more stories on Wrestling Insider Special Edition with
David God.
We'll be right back.
Cheers.
Wrestling fans, the countdown is on to Boston Wrestling MWF's 20th anniversary bash, Saturday night, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. Join WWE Hall of Famers Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, and Bob Backlund, Marty Jannetty, the Doctor of Style Slick, the Berzerker, Doink the Clown, Duke the Dumpster Droese, Aldo Montoya, plus JTG of Cryme Time, two-time Impact Wrestling World Champion Die Hard Eddie Edwards, John Cena Sr., and Oscar of Men on a Mission for live wrestling, an autograph photo fan fest, VIP Q&A session with the kickoff to the Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive in a must-see event 2 decades in the making. VIP packages and tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. We'll see you live in Melrose November 13th.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marotti.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
On October 28, 2020, wrestling's scariest night was back with WWE NXT Halloween Havoc. This limited edition collector's autograph poster is number 12 of only 100 produced and is signed by all 9 superstars featured on the poster, including Johnny Gargano, Damian Priest, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, Dexter Lumis, Cameron Grimes, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez, and your Halloween Havoc host, Shotzi Blackheart. Comes with WWE authentication hologram on the back. You'll also receive an on-air thank you from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas and a bonus mystery autograph photo. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome collectible now. Wrestling fans, especially here in the Boston area, we want to thank our great friends at Red Rose for their support for all of our charitable endeavors and programming efforts. Red Rose is 2 years young and extremely thankful for all the support they've had from our neighbors here in Melrose and beyond for an amazing first 2 years. Red Rose thanks Melrose and all of the first responders who have fought the good fight and have never given up hope during these unprecedented times. We did it together. Follow Red Rose on Facebook for their anniversary special, facebook.com/Red Rose Melrose. You'll be glad you did. Open until 2 a.m. Red Rose will give you fresh, piping hot, mouth-watering food that'll put an ear-to-ear smile on even the toughest critic's face. Check out their full menu online at redrosema.com or give them a call, 781-620-1889.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back as we continue the fun. Sometimes I think the fans would enjoy the banter we have during the commercial breaks than they do during the show.
Yeah, they might. We were still recording. We could probably put that up there too. Why not?
New Jack, we had a couple of great ones because one of the individuals, the one that I talked about that held us up for money,
Yeah.
he outed as being a horrible human being when he was in a relationship with her. And she has this, I guess you'd call it a fetish, for she likes it if the men that she's with don't bathe for several days. And I don't know why, but it's whatever. That's her thing, like Tony with the feet.
Can I guess who the
You sure?
Sonny?
No.
Is that Sonny?
No.
Oh, wow.
No. I guess you don't know of New Jack's relations.
No.
Well, anyway, at one point, she wanted to go to town on the
New Jack.
the back end,
Oh.
and he said he turned around and looked, and it was like a child eating a fudgicle.
Huh. And children love fudgicles. Oh my gosh.
On a hot day.
Ooh.
But anyway, back to Elijah Burke.
Yeah.
How did even now, he's going to be a few years older than us, right?
Yeah, that's a few years old.
He doesn't look it.
No,
He could easily
great
pass.
shape, could work.
Could easily pass as 10 years younger.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand how one of these, especially WWE, I don't want to knock WWE's commentary, but I mean, it kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
He has life, he has personality, he has charisma. I thought he added a lot to TNA's presentations. I mean, I think Michael Cole is really good at doing interviews and voiceovers and things like that, but he's not effective in getting over wrestlers or wrestling matches or wrestling moves or wrestling angles or wrestling storylines or wrestling events. And that's kind of the job. If you're going to be, to me, the commentary team is like your friend that you're going to be sitting watching the show with for 2 or 3 hours.
I think the best commentators are the guys who's been in the ring, who have passed. Jerry the Lawler,
Yeah.
you know. Well, not Jerry Lawler. JR, he was really good. He hasn't been in the
Well, he
ring.
was play-by-play.
Okay. But
For
commentators.
the color, yeah.
Yeah, like let's go back to even Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. One was the manager. So they made a great team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Vince and Jesse.
Yep, there you
Gorilla
go.
and Jesse when they
Roddy
team
Piper,
up
I like
for some
Roddy
of the
Piper too when he
pay-per-views.
did commentate.
Piper was a little
Macho
over the
Man.
top sometimes.
Macho
Macho Man for
I think the best
and now you
commentators,
got
in-ring performers. Yeah.
Michael Cole. And I don't know if we certainly didn't have a chance to talk about the man, but did you catch any of Adnan Verk's work on Raw?
I don't even know who
for
that is.
I think he lasted 5 weeks.
I have no clue who that is.
He was formerly a client of the new WWE president, Nick Khan. So they said, geez, this guy did baseball. We'll bring him in for Raw. And it was
horrible.
I mean, he might have been a great human being, but as far as the commentary goes, it was
Horrible, huh?
Well, he was calling Byron Saxton and Corey Graves fellas. Oh,
Because he couldn't remember the name.
he admitted that he'd never watched wrestling ever.
Just like the female writer who got
Yeah,
fired.
Kenise Mobley.
So if you
And
want
I'm
to,
like, you don't know what? Fuck Kenise Mobley. That bitch pissed me the fuck off.
what does she do? What grinds your gears, Dan?
No,
What grinds your gears?
What was she, a stand-up comedian?
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman. It has the fact with she had such little respect for our industry that she went on that interview and fucking made the champion of that brand look like he was nothing, not even remembering his name.
Some guy named Bobby, and he was a part of the Hurt
Ashley,
Business.
yeah, Bobby Ashley.
Bobby, who's a part of this cool group.
Wrestling fans, sorry to interrupt your favorite episodes of Wrestling Insiders, but truly need your help to keep Wrestling Legends working and these shows produced. Get early, uninterrupted, full-screen access to Wrestling Insiders, along with our studio shoot interview DVD library, is seen by millions online, exclusives and more by joining the Boston Wrestling Patreon family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Check out the link to the Boston Wrestling eBay store in the description box below. If you're watching the premiere, the Super Chat button is open for business, or send a donation of any size using Venmo at Boston Wrestling or PayPal using bw@bostonwrestling.com. Again, sorry to interrupt, but we can't keep giving you these free talk shows without your support. Now, back to the show.
Called The Hurt. Yeah.
I mean, if you work for fucking McDonald's, don't go on a podcast and do something like that. Not even remembering the name of the hamburger. I mean, again, she might be a fine human being, but what was she thinking? And even worse, what was WWE thinking hiring a sack of shit like that?
That's WWE's fault.
And you know what's even worse than that? How many other Kenise Mobleys are there right now tearing apart people's careers because they don't know the industry they're working in?
Oh, what's her name again?
Kenise Mobley.
She's probably the reason why they broke up the Hurt Business. It's probably her idea. Let's blame her.
Oh, they're cool guys, and they wore suits. I couldn't believe it. I think it was she was a black woman, and I think it was called Asian Not Asian was the name of the podcast.
Oh,
so
my
I was even confused by that.
Why is she even on, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but how many Kenise Mobleys are there right now in WWE that they hired because they thought, oh, they have an entertainment background. They'll be great for the show that continues to have record low ratings every week. How about you just try, okay, we've gone the route of writers now going back to about 2000, 2001, as our popularity continues to decline. Other than the little bump they got from Cena and Batista since the bell rang at WrestleMania 17 when they turned Austin heel. You know what? At one point, when we had wrestling people doing this, we were pretty successful. What is the problem with having wrestling people involved in the process of writing? Can I see the plus of having a creative person that maybe doesn't have a great wrestling background? Maybe putting a couple of the puzzle pieces together with vignettes? Sure. Yeah. As far as scripting the whole show goes, it's almost like a parody of what it used to be.
Are you a Cornette fan?
Yes.
I love Cornette. I've been watching his podcast.
How do you watch
I've been listening to his podcast on YouTube. I listen about it every day, and his knowledge of wrestling. I wish they would bring. And I know they're not going to bring him to AEW because he has so much heat over there, and he hates that. He hates that company.
He's going anywhere.
I would love to see him back on the writing team in WWE, even NWA. But
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, he had that issue in NWA with the joke gone wrong. But you want to know how I lucked out with Jim Cornette? I talked about how I broke in so young. The guy that worked for Tony Rumble, he was very, very smart. Mm-hmm. He was good friends with Kevin Sullivan, who's a Boston guy. I'm sure you know who Kevin is. Kevin Sullivan?
Oh, yeah, Kevin Sullivan. Yeah.
When Kevin was booking Nitro, he would bring Kevin in to do shows. And it worked great because Kevin would borrow merchandise from the warehouse to bring with him. And they trusted me with the money, so they'd have me do the NWO shirts and whatnot.
Okay.
And not only would they give me the merch, he'd give me a little cut.
Nice.
And in the 90s, those were some nice paydays, let me tell you. So when Nitro was hot, he'd have Kevin coming in. And I mean, to just, okay, this guy's booking WCW, the hottest company in wrestling right now. Then, once WWF got hot, after the Tyson thing, Tony joined the NWA, which was Cornette was involved in.
Okay.
Cornette lived in Connecticut.
Okay.
He wanted to be part of wrestling as opposed to quote-unquote sports entertainment. He was off on the weekends. He didn't have a talent contract.
Okay.
So instead of Kevin, Cornette started coming in for Tony. And I'm in high school.
Yeah,
How lucky was I?
that's great.
That's like college for pro wrestling, being able to be around them.
Yep.
So I can understand why people don't like Cornette. He's very blunt. He's
Yes.
very outspoken.
He doesn't sugarcoat nothing.
I can kind of be
and
the
his
same
love,
way.
And his love for the business, his passion for the
That's
business.
where it
why
comes
he.
from.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. Yeah. So you can't really take it personal.
He loves pro wrestling, and he wants pro wrestling to be pro wrestling. And when it's not, he becomes very angry. I tell you this, I almost get the same way. If you knew me in my 20s, maybe the first 5, 6, 7 years of doing this, when it came to other independents and what they had and what they do, I was the Jim Cornette about that. Because I was disgusted. And I still am, but I've learned that's what it is.
I think we need a little bit more Cornettes because we need to have our business held at a certain standard. I think my being on the independent scene every weekend, a lot of the talent they need to tighten up their craft. They need to tighten it up and all these high spots. Learn how to tell a story.
The problem is, to me, the wrestling schools. Look at who the people. You went to OVW.
Oh, yes.
Look at what the choice of wrestling schools are for a lot of these people. Unless they're willing to have the balls that you did and pack your bag and travel the way you did, you can be taught by any Joe Blow that did independence on a weekend, has enough money to rent a little building, get a little ring, and ta-da, we're a wrestling training center. And because we have enough money to rent a VWF hall, where in exchange, instead of rent, we let them sell the food and the booze, and we get free rent, and we bring our little shit ring that's falling apart. We're having wrestling shows. Ta-da!
And you learn how
they
to do
think
a
they're pro
dive.
wrestling.
You learn how to do a dive before you can actually learn how to do chain wrestling. Learning how to work an arm.
And then you know what I think is great? Not to try and sound cheap, but you know, this is the talent that comes to us the way they've been trained.
Yes.
You've seen the stacked lineup that we have that is going to be with us
No,
Saturday night, November the 13th.
November 13th, yeah.
It's for the great young talent to pick the brains of, along with a great athlete of yourself that is tenured, still a young guy. Show us those guns again. The shape of his career, baby. Billy Graham, eat your heart out. And he's not on the gas, he's on the T-Moss. And then this talent comes to us that, to me, it's like a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle. They might have some of the pieces, but they don't know how to put that puzzle together.
Yes.
Then they come to the independent promotions to work the shows, and they want to get paid. And we have people to try and help formulate the puzzle better, but instead they're paying schools to be taught the wrong way. Then they go to shows and they want to be paid.
Like
It's almost like it should be. It's all wrong.
You know what Al's numbers of
Uncle Al.
Uncle
please.
Al, yeah,
Uncle
be more specific. A lot of the talent in OVW were getting into trouble because they was calling themselves professional wrestlers. And then I didn't understand why. I was like, well, we wrestle. Why we can't? He's like, no, you are not a professional wrestler yet until you learn when and why and where you do your moves. Like you could do your finisher. When do you do it? Why are you doing it? We're all about. That's what makes us professionals. You could go on the indies and a bunch of people could do a bunch of moves and spots, but if you don't know when and where, you're not a professional. I'm like, oh, it clicked. I got it now.
Our guys were and both of those two gentlemen in the front row were part of it.
Yes.
Al, when he was in charge of developmental for WWE, he came in and did a seminar. He did a seminar with the guys when he was in charge of Impact. I think he was actually in charge of talent relations at that point with Impact. And to be able to sit there for 3 hours with him and not just go through the moves, but just anyone can critique your wrestling moves, but to listen to him explain what the wrestling business should be and so on and so forth. I remember it was hysterical. There were probably 30 guys that did the first one when he was still with WWE. And he had everybody stand around the ring. And this one guy went and sat down in a chair. And he just stopped and looked at him. And he's like, is there any reason you can't stand like everybody else around this ring? And he was, that's the take it home, brother? Well, unfortunately, fans, we got some bad news coming after the story. But and the guy, he was humiliated. I mean, I sat because
What was his reason for sitting?
I just think he was tired. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
And he just went But I mean, you're not talking about a group of 2 or 3 people. And so let me sit down for a minute. This is 30 of your peers that you're going to be working on a show with that night. And he went and sat down. And he had one of the worst matches in the history of our organization.
Ooh.
I couldn't even use the video footage of it.
You sure about that?
Terrible.
I got a horrible match. I'll tell you about it when we come back.
It was terrible. The footage was useless. Al was spot on, but I remember Todd Ivar was in it, Kofi, Tommaso Ciampa was in it, Mike Bennett, the one that married Maria, he was in it.
I saw him yesterday.
So there was a lot of great indie talent at that point that went on to have full-time careers that were in Braintree, Massachusetts with our buddy Uncle Al Snow, who we had with us at Tampa at Wrestle House. I think he'd be another great regular addition here in the studio because Al, along with his knowledge, is absolutely insane, and he has a hilarious way of explaining certain things.
Oh, he has great stories, yeah.
Have you ever read
and
his book?
I love his Mankind jokes. Oh, they go back and forth. Him and Mick Foley. I'm sorry. I said Mankind.
Decades. Have you ever read his book?
No, I don't think I read Al's book, no.
You want to know what really got me?
What's that?
I was so excited about his book because I'm in it.
Oh, you're in it. Nice.
And they the ghostwriter completely butchered my name.
What do you call you, Dan what?
I don't even remember, it was so bad. It wasn't anything close to Marty. It was like, what the? And I know because we do work with the book publishers, our good friends out of Toronto at ECW Press. I said, can you fix it? And they said, well,
too late.
If we do a second print, I'll make sure we go in and spell your last name right. Because it's a great story to me, but
you just wanted to...
For him to put it in his book, it must have been a good story, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, for a man, you want to talk about autobiographies. How many do you have?
I have 2. I have 2 and a fitness book. Yes. Oh.
No, I didn't even know.
You didn't know how to fitness book?
I didn't know about the
Oh, when you have
book.
guns this big, everybody asks you, how do you get your arms so big? So, I had to come up with a book. You can find it on Amazon. It is the Newbie's Guide to Big Biceps.
Come again?
The Newbie's Guide to Big Biceps.
The Newbie's Guide to Big Biceps.
Yes, if anybody who's new to the gym, who wants to get active, who start getting active in the gym, who don't know what to do, they see weights and they get in machines, they get all, get anxiety, like, oh, which one do I do first? I break it down for you. 6-week program.
What about someone that's physically challenged like I am, that really couldn't even do the gym? Would you have any tips for me to try and get myself into better condition?
I would suggest for you the battle rope.
The what?
The battle rope. You know what the battle ropes are?
The battle rope?
It's good for the arms and it's good for cardio.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean. I didn't know it was called the battle rope.
Yeah. During the quarantine, I had to use that because the gyms were closed. In the meantime.
You had to set up a home gym almost?
No, I just put that in the backyard.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and I kept
you had a backyard gym.
Yeah.
All right, wrestling fans, we are running out of time. And what are the names of the autobiographies again? The wrestling
The
themed
first
ones?
one, it is called Damn, Why Did I Write This Book? And the
Dan, why did I write this book?
No, Damn.
Not Dan. Okay.
Yeah, Damn, Why Did I Write This Book? And the second one is called Damn, Why Did I Write This Book Too?
I was going to say it was one thing to be in Al's book, but to be in the title.
Be in the title of my book.
a little off. Damn, not Dan. You can find those on Amazon.com. He finally got me my copies, and I absolutely love them. You need to get paper copies so we can put them all over the set.
So what? Paper.
Physical
Paper
copies,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay,
like I said, baby, it's all about product placement.
Yes, sir.
And again, if you're looking for some great products, you can head over to the Boston Wrestling eBay store. It is open 24/7. Link in the description box below, along with becoming part of the Boston Wrestling Patreon family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. The ads that are running tell you about all the great perks for something that costs less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Hundreds of interviews with dozens of superstars. It's like a wrestling library. It's like you want to talk about a college course, like I mentioned when I had Cornette and Kevin Sullivan around when I was in high school, just listening and learning from these veterans, fun stories, road stories, some sad life stories. I mean, some of the pitfalls that Marty's had. Tony Atlas's going from one of the top superstars in wrestling in the 80s to living under a park bench, homeless in Maine. I mean, we have some real life stories to go along with great wrestling experiences, but That's a wrap for this one. For my partner in crime, JTG, we are counting down just a couple of weeks. Saturday night, November the 13th.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
I mean, by the time this airs, I'm not sure if the VIPs are completely sold out.
It probably will
If
be.
you want those all-inclusive VIP packages, baby, head on over to BostonWrestling.com along with the general admission tickets. For my partner in crime, the G-Man himself, JTG, I'm DM. He said if I use the goods, you're going to slide into DMs. But that's a different story for a different time. We'll see you next week on Wrestling Insider Special Edition. Good night.
Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.